All right, so I wanted to do this video on tonality because I know a lot of people know that I speak highly of it and always will. The developer put a lot of energy and work into this, and I feel like tonality is kind of slept on. Obviously, Scalar has a lot of power, has done a lot of cool things too, and a lot of the features that are in Scalar you can do in tonality. In fact, you can import Scalar packs into tonality. But there's something in this version, or there's something in tonality, I should say. Now, I can't speak on version 3 that is about to come out, so this video is strictly speaking on Scalar 2 as it is at this moment, that I kind of like. Now, there is a section in Scalar 2 where you can pull out, you can separate your chords into like, okay, this is going to be the first part, this is going to be the second part. You can do your patterns and different things, which is cool. So I'm not saying one you can't do this on, but I like the way tonality has this implemented. So here's something I made up. It's actually like a John Mayer gravity type thing, but it's not actually exactly what he played or what the song is. So we're just using these chords. I'm gonna show you what I did here. So this is for the chorus and verse. It's really just two chords going back and forth. This is the bass notes, and this is the chord itself. So one of the things you can do, because all of these are customizable, so if you hit this edit button here, you can label anything you want here, right? So I use this first square as just a label. It's literally nothing here. Plus I can put whatever color I want by using the color palettes. You'll see them down here. This one right here, see this color? It's like a paintbrush on a square. So what I like about this is being able to do that, first of all. So now I can clearly see these first chords, or these first parts, are my chorus and verse. And then through the second time around, then I play these. So the way I did it was this part here is the bass. So you could literally write in here bass notes if you wanted to. I didn't on this particular one just because it made sense to me. And having them separate like that allows you more freedom to play the stuff versus if you just put it all together, you're kind of stuck with that. Now you could put this as a single note, or even you could have two bass notes and have them separated and have more playability. This is one of the things for tonality that I like over like a scalar. Scalar, you're gonna need to, you could do it by hand that way, but it's very, I won't say it's impossible to get the velocities, because it's not impossible to do it. It's just a lot more work to do that, and you have to have a controller if you want to get that velocity change, because, or set it to automatically do it on the velocity and scalar. Whereas with this one, you have the ability, and I've shown this before, if you hold down this, they start shaking. You could have your bass parts separate like this. See, and then if you hit the lock button, you get a little more space because it gets rid of the ones that you aren't using. The other feature that's cool with this is being able to go in here. If you touch that little 3 dots right there, you can change the pad. I'm going to do mine left to right. It's a little bit easier. See, if I touch on the bottom, it's not doing it. But if I go left to right, you'll see the velocity change in the pad. That is a huge thing. This is in Beatmaker 3. I think they only use up and down. But I think this is important to put on pads to me. I really wish Koala had this. I've said this 100 times, but I don't think it'll ever happen. And I know because some people use Koala on the phone, but guess what? Tonality works on the phone too. So it just depends on the person. And my hands are fat, and I'm still saying I would use it for certain things, right? When I don't want to play a note repeat, like where it's just stuck to a rigid division, and I want to get outside of that division and just be able to do it myself kind of manually. That's where having that velocity change going left to right. And then you can set whether it's linear and all that if you want to adjust there. So now, something it doesn't do here, just so you know, when you split it into like a strum mode, you do not have the ability to use the velocity pads. It's not there. So if you decide you want that more, you prefer, then your best bet at that point would either be make separate notes. Because here you see I'm playing the first and the fifth. I'm not actually playing octaves. And what this does is it allows you to get a nice variation in the song so that it doesn't sound so stagnant, like it's the same chord over and over and over, or having to manually go in and adjust. So if I'm hitting these pads in different areas like this right here, you're getting variation in your song. So that's one of the things that Tonality brings that I like, is for playability purposes. And I did say playability. Tonality wins for me personally because I like to be able to play my music. And especially when it comes to chords and bass and things that are, melodic. You want to be able to play that stuff. It sounds better. It sounds more natural. It doesn't sound so, copy, paste, click, mouse clicked in. So now you can play your song. And what's cool about this too is the iPad is such a great, I call it like an instrument rack almost, because especially using Ableton, you can set your instruments up. And then if you have a SP404 or a computer or whatever else you want to record, you can record directly into that stuff using things like Tonality and different instruments to be able to record your parts. Now you might say, well, that's just chords and for you. So how do you get something else? Well, you could have one set up for chord. You could have as many as you want right in here, as long as your iPad don't crash on you. You could have another one set up where it's just playing a scale. So here's scale notes, and then you could either make up the scale notes or you could pick a scale. So I'm going to pick, I don't even know, I think that key would be in C. So we'll just pick C. We'll select C major. And now you have all the notes in that key. So let's say like this is set on C4. So you could have, in theory, let's go ahead and do that thing again where we set this left to right. We'll leave it linear, that's fine. All right, so now you have all your notes. And this, I wouldn't per se do this for notes because it's so much easier just to look at a piano and do it. But for those that don't know that and they just want to have one octave, you could do more than one octave if you wanted to. You could go in and set up yourself a nice 4x4 with it and have a couple octaves in there to where you could just have your notes. And that's not hard to do. This one just gives you one. But if you really want more than one octave, just go back into it and set it up that way where you have more than one. Okay, so why would you want to do this? We're going to set this to Neo. So same keys, doesn't really matter. So I'm going to shrink this one down a little bit. I'm going to go with custom this time, only because I want to open both of them at the same time. We'll do this one to the same. We'll have it custom. Cool. And it's going to be over here. Now, I have an 11-inch iPad. Obviously, you want to have, this is probably the minimal you want to have doing this, because it's going to be kind of challenging, but so you see my point? You can play the melody and you don't have to guess what the melody is. You already have it pre-planned as to the notes you want. And you can change these notes. Again, hit that button, go in and pick the note on the keyboard. If you need to see more octaves on here, and you'll know it's showing you just that one note. But in the case of C, all the notes fall on the C on there. So you can pick any of the white keys and it'll work just fine. So that's just to show you that part. So there you go. It's just some ideas of how you could use it in different ways. To me, this is great, especially if you want to record into maybe you want to record into your SP404. And now that, and I could, let me see if I can move. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit out. Get rid of some stuff like this mouse. Move this cable for you guys. I'm going to bring the SP, because SP is actually pushing the sound through anyway. Try to bring the SP in the picture here. Take this cover off. All right, so, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go to Shift. We're going to go to 4. I'm just putting a different project on here. Okay, so now, you know, with the SP, it's pretty easy to say, I just want to record to a pad. Set the BPM that you want. I'm going to do something slow just because that's what I feel like. I'm going to just do 2 bars. Pick the pad. It's going to wait for me. Done. I'm just doing something quick so you can see it. That was a bad recording. Hold on, let's do it again. So hit record, change the tempo, hit that. There you go. Loop, turn off gate. Then you can put your melody on a separate pad if you wanted to, or resample that. It's up to you. So that's an option. Or you may choose to go record, hit this pad, change this BPM. I don't even remember what the other one. I'm gonna do 76 just for sake of this video. Hit record. It's waiting. So now you can play the melody with it. I just press the loop on just so you can see. We'll keep that going for a second here, and I'm going to put in turning the volume. record that in. So you could exit out of there, hit record, press this in. 76. Now, if you want to record it with what you already did, then you'll have to do that in the pattern mode, because if you resample here and try to record over the top, I don't think it adds it. I think it just records over what you already did there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just stopping it. Let's just try it just to see why not. So can I go, oh, you go resample, 76. And then you hit that, and then it's gonna wait for you to. Oh, it does work. Okay, never mind. Perfect. So it works even better, because I didn't think that would work. I don't do that often. I usually use pattern mode. But yeah, right in here, didn't even have to use the pattern thing. You could just record straight in and just use resample when you want to use a pad with your iPad instrument and play it at the same time. So that's easy. I don't think it gets any easier than that. I mean, you could do the same in Koala, but we're talking about the difference of having something tactile versus touching the pad. Though I would do either or, and it's fine with me. I'm just showing you options, right, that you can do. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just a personal choice as to what you want to do. So anyway, that's all I wanted to show you. Tonality was the purpose of this video. The SP is just an added bonus. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. Put Koala in here and record straight to Koala. You can do the same thing that I was doing here using Tonality. So if you guys haven't grabbed Tonality, I would just say it's worth it. I think it's like $6.99 or something. Sometimes he'll put it on sale, so you could wait for sales, but I don't know how much he's gonna put on sale as of recent. But I'm just saying, the better put the chorus, verse in, write your stuff in here exactly, so you know which part is what. It's a little more orchestrated. Now, you could do your melody on this too. You don't have to do it on a separate one. You could have your melody down here and make more pads. There's a lot of grid size. So for instance, in here, I think the grid size goes up to 12 by 12. So you could do up to a 12 by 12. Cancel. You could do up to a 12 by 12 in there and have everything you want on one and just maximize it and play off the one, which might be easier for you, depending on how you function. If I'm using both hands, I could do it that way, but I like having the separate ones too, because I don't know, it just feels right for me. But if I'm doing it together, then yeah. Oh, let me show you this since I'm on this subject anyway. If you want to use a keyboard to do it, the square here, let's close this one so you can see it. It's a square right here. You press the square and you'll see these little dots. You hit whatever you're going to do. Like, I don't have a keyboard here, so I'm not going to use the SP to show you, but you press this down and you press your key on your keyboard, and it will put that note or whatever key you're pressing as that. So if you have a launch pad or a launch key or whatever you have, you can use it. You just set the MIDI to this, and then you just MIDI it in. You can even do it with the SP. I'm going to show you right here. By pressing the dots here, you can see the SPs down here. Oh, almost threw that off the table. All right, so there's that. So then, see how I press that number, and now this triggers it. Let's say I want this one to be here. So now I have pretty simple, right? So that's the benefit. If you want to get rid of one, I think you touch the pad and touch this pad I'm talking about, and then hit your note, your keys or your pad or whatever you pressed before, and it'll erase it. So it's gone. So pretty simple. You can use a controller to control it. I think somebody asked me that question once. And you can also use the keys in here if you want. You can set it down here and control it. I wouldn't do this because the whole idea of having the velocity in here, to me, makes it stronger, right? Versus using something down there. What's the point of having all these pads? The pads run this way better. So just use your, if you got fat fingers like mine, just use your left, right in this spot down here. Use left to right. Or if you prefer right to left, whichever your preference is. But that's just how I do it. If I'm drumming something, I like it to go up and down, but for chords, I just use left to right. So anyway, this can be a controller too. You can make this a controller for something else. It doesn't have to be just for chords. You can do it for drum pads. You can do it for anything. So let's say you want to use Koala, but you prefer to have the vertical of being able to change the velocity. You could actually make this a controller. You can build your own controller, save it as a template, and then build your own for that. So anyway, so many options. Tonality is amazing. If you haven't grabbed it, grab it. It's a long video. I wasn't planning on going this long, but we did. So it is what it is. And we'll see you on the next one.